Why 2024 is very exciting is that this founding father, this son of the soil, in the name of Kenneth David Kuchizya Kaunda, would have stayed 100 years today.
Once again, allow me to repeat our thankfulness to His Excellency the President, to you and to the government of our republic for the commitment to Dr. Kaunda's legacy.
And may the renaming of the KK, Longeka's More to KK, serve as a befitting tribute to his exemplary life and enduring legacy of One Zambia, One Nation. And today we call it One Zambia, One Nation, One People.
Breathtaking and thrilling. Visit Livingston City for pure adrenaline and fun. Let its thrills and spills inspire you. Livingston features arguably the best sunset views in the world. Memorable game viewing adventures in the small but well-stocked Mosi Otunya National Park, where you can see the rare white rhino. Experience the best of Zambia's rich culture and history at the Livingston Museum, or through visual and performing arts, food and folklore at the Bonfire by Night. And to crown them all, the awesome, majestic, mighty Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, known in local language as Mosi Otunya, the smoke that thunders. A visit to Livingston is incomplete if it does not include this world-famous icon. Some call it Zambia, but we call it home. One Zambia, one destination, limitless exploring. Zambia, let's explore. There are moments in our lives that live forever. Moments like witnessing the thunderous call of a natural wonder, or experiencing the roar of the wilderness as its residents come to life, and the living sliver of a river teeming with untamed wildlife. There are moments in our lives that live forever. Moments like experiencing the adrenaline rush of close encounters with nature's thrills. The exquisite indulgence of luxurious treats kissed by the radiance of the African sky. the rhythmic movement of a people in celebration, whose tranquility and peace touch the hearts of those they encounter. There are moments in our lives that live forever. Many of them begin here. Zambia, one destination, a million adventures. Zambia, let's explore.
PS, I welcome you back, and there's a point of order which was raised. I am not going to give a ruling now. We'll proceed with your submission, but let me, however, give a guidance, PS, that according to Article 61, has got legislative oversight, which it is conferred with, and that is what we are doing. And again, that is also already in line with the standing orders of 2024, which gives us procedure on how we carry out our business as Parliament. And what we are discussing actively in any Parliament committee cannot be debated on the floor of the House. And with that said, PS, as the Minister of Health is coming tomorrow, you kindly appear with them, and also the PS for local government. Then we can come and make a ruling tomorrow. But you proceed to make your submission on Head 26, which is the Minister of Information and Media, because it's not in line with what was being talked about. So we'll proceed with this submission. Then tomorrow at 9:30 you come with Ministry of Health, as well as the PS there, and the PS local government. Then I'll do my ruling. So you can proceed, PS, with your submission. You are conferred with immunity in accordance with Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which gives you immunity as you make submission before this committee. So it can proceed. You are on Head 26, Ministry of Information and Media, various programs and activities. The point of order was Mila, Member of Parliament from Frida Central. You can proceed on 18.1, the mandate of the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I am well guided. 18.1 mandate: the ministry is responsible for formulation and administration of guidelines, regulations and laws relating to broadcasting and television services, cinematography policy, information services, media and theatre policies. Budget provision, funding and expenditure. That's in 18.2. In the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year ended 31st December 2023, a total provision of 122,986,916 kwacha was made to cater for various activities at the ministry, against which amounts totaling to 122,906,857 were funded, representing 100% funding. As at December 31st, 2023, amounts totaling 121,421,322 had been spent, leaving a balance of 1,565,535. Our response. The ministry acknowledges the Auditor General's observation and clarifies that the remaining balance of 565,535 was due to late disbursements of funds from the Treasury. Consequently, this delay affected the timely initiation and completion of procurement processes before the close of accounts on 31st December 2023. This was caused, the cause of the unspent balance of 1,565,535 resulted from delays in fund disbursement from the Treasury, which impacted the Ministry's ability to initiate and complete procurement processes within the financial year. The corrective action taken to prevent similar issues in the future budget cycles, the Ministry has strengthened coordination with the Treasury to facilitate earlier release of funds. This will enable more timely initiation of procurement activities and ensure alignment with budget timelines, reducing the risks of unspent balances at the year end, as is attached in Appendix A. 18.3 Audit Findings. An examination of accounting and other related records for financial year ended 31st December 2023 maintained at the Ministry headquarters reviewed the following. A. Failure to drill a borehole at Mansa Provincial Broadcasting Studios. On 15th December 2023, the Ministry paid an amount of 70,212 to the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation Department of Water Resources to drill a borehole at Mansa Provincial Broadcasting Studio, which was experiencing a water crisis. According to the progress report dated 9th May 2024, prepared by the Ministry, the borehole had not been drilled because the Ministry had not selected the location from the two options provided. As at 31st August 2024, the Ministry had still not informed the Department of Water Resources of their decision, and the borehole remained undrilled. The Ministry wishes to respond as follows, Chairperson. Acknowledges the auditor's observation concerning the delay in drilling a borehole at the Mansa Provincial Broadcasting Studio. I confirm that the borehole has now been successfully drilled and is fully operational, addressing the identified concern. To ensure compliance and transparency, the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation, through its Department of Water Resources, has issued an official report confirming the completion of the drilling and status of the borehole. This report is provided as evidence and is included in Appendix B for your review. The cause was the delay in providing feedback on the borehole location was due to internal consultations within the Ministry. After selecting a location, further challenges arose. The first borehole had inadequate water, and the second borehole collapsed, which delayed the drilling process. In terms of corrective action, the Ministry has improved coordination with service providers by designating an officer to consistently follow up on project implementation. B. Unaccountable for fuel. Regulation 7 of the Public Finance Management, Public Stores Regulations of 2022 states, an office holder in charge of stores shall maintain the following books: records of registers, stores ledger, stores demand, issue and receipt vouchers, stock receipt cost sheet, or any other document as may be determined by the Secretary to Treasury or a controlling body. Contrary to the regulation, there were no receipts and disposable details in respect of fuel costing 903,248 procured during the period under review. Chair, our response is that the Ministry acknowledges the auditor's findings regarding the absence of receipt and disposable details for fuel totaling 903,248. emphasizing the need for stronger fuel management controls. In response, the ministry has reviewed and authenticated fuel ledgers and secured the necessary filling station statements to establish a complete audit trail. Follow-up actions with the filling station ensured all outstanding statements were obtained, enabling a detailed reconciliation of fuel receipts, disposables, and usage. These records are now available for verification and are included in Appendix C. The cause, Chairperson, is that the weakness in fuel management controls and the failure to adhere for accurate record keeping of fuel procurement and usage. The corrective action taken is to enhance accountability and prevent future issues. The ministry has enhanced measures such as regular reconciliation and periodic reviews for fuel management. C. Failure to maintain an asset register. Section 41(1) and 2 of the Public Finance Management Act No. 1 of 2018 provides that a controlling officer is responsible for the management of public assets and stores of the head of expenditure. A controlling officer shall keep a register of the public assets and stores in respect of every head of expenditure. Contrary to the Act, as at 31st August 2024, the Ministry had not established a register of public assets. Consequently, assets valued at 2,284,329 kwacha were not recorded in an asset register as a means of ensuring accountability. Chair, our response is that the Ministry acknowledges the auditor's observations. In response, the Ministry collaborated with the Ministry of Transport and Logistics to inscribe the assets that lacked GRZ inscriptions. Additionally, the asset register has been updated to include the missing details for assets valued at 2,284,000 kwacha, 329 during the period under review, as is attached in Appendix D. Because the asset register contained missing information regarding the serial numbers of GRZ inscriptions of certain assets. Corrective action taken to address this issue, the Ministry has implemented a process to update the asset register immediately upon acquisition of assets prior to their distribution to user departments. D. Failure to provide information for audit. Section 73(1) of the Public Finance Management Act No. 1 of 2018 requires that the Auditor General and the office holder, agent, or specialist consultant authorized by the Auditor General shall, in performance of duties under the Constitution or any other law, have access to all books, records, returns, reports, other documents, and financial management systems in electronic or any other form relating to the accounts of public bodies as the Auditor General considers necessary. Contrary to the Regulation 14, payment vouchers in amounts totaling to 301,933 kwacha made during the period under review were not availed for audit. Our response, Chair, the Ministry acknowledges the auditor's observations and regrets the initial unavailability of 14 payment vouchers totaling to 301,933 kwacha due to misfiling. These vouchers have now been retrieved and are audit verification Appendix E. Because the failure to provide information for audit was due to misfiling, which made 14 vouchers totaling 301,933 kwacha inaccessible during the audit process. The corrective action taken is to prevent a recurrence of this issue. The Ministry has strengthened the cashier's function by assigning 2 dedicated staff members to oversee record management and organization under the supervision of a designated officer responsible for ensuring accuracy and compliance. E. Failure to settle outstanding bills. A review of outstanding bills revealed that as at 31st December 2023, the ministry owed amounts totaling to 1,130,106 kwacha to 48 officers in respect of personal emoluments and 3 suppliers, some of which had been outstanding from as far back as 2017. Our response that the ministry acknowledges the auditor's observations and regrets the delay in dismantling the outstanding debts. However, the ministry has since initiated the dismantling process with a commitment of 269,661.47 to settle part of the outstanding amount. The cause, the failure to settle outstanding bills, was primarily due to budgetary constraints and inadequate allocation of funds over multiple years, resulting in arrears. The correction action taken, the ministry has developed a phased plan to address outstanding bills, starting with an allocation of 430,000 kwacha in 2024, followed by an addition of 500,000 kwacha provision in the 2025 budget to further reduce the arrears. In conclusion, Chair, I thank you and your committee for the opportunity to present our responses to the Auditor General's report for the financial year ending 31st December 2023. Your attention and support in this matter are greatly appreciated. Chairperson, I submit.
Thank you so much, PS. Honorable members, we are free to ask questions. Start with budget provision, funding and expenditure. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS. You have submitted to the committee that there was a balance of 1.5 million, which was as a result of late disbursement from Treasury. The committee would want to appreciate by knowing what activities actually suffered because of the unspent amount. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Okay. PS, you can respond to that question.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I ask my Director of Finance too.
Director of Finance, through the PS, can respond to the question.
Thank you, Chair. The balance of 1.5 million actually affected the procurement of assets that were budgeted for under the Department of ZANES. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Daka, you have a follow-up question? Or we're still on the same issue? This is to do with the borehole or budget and expenditure. Okay. Let's proceed to the next question. Honorable Mwila.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, the issue of the borehole at Mansa Provincial Broadcasting Studios. We'd like to find out when this borehole was drilled and commissioned. I ask this because I've seen some dates that are conflicting. The finding is that as at 31st August 2024, 31st August 2024, the ministry had still not informed the Department of Water Resources of their decision and the borehole remained undrilled. This is part of the audit findings, that as at 31st of August, the borehole remained undrilled. Generally, in your response, you are saying the borehole is now there, fully operational. Now, the two dates, if according to the auditors, as at 31st August, it remained undrilled. I've looked at the appendix to support your response, which is basically the completion report on the construction of the borehole at Zanis Mansa. This is on appendix B. The testing, according to your appendix, the testing within the body of this appendix, the borehole pumping test record, the date of testing is indicated as 30th August 2024. That's the day of testing according to the pumping test report. Now, if according to the auditors, as at 31st, the borehole remained undrilled, but there is a testing report which is dated 30th August. This is confusing to the committee. It was tested a day before the auditor saying it remained undrilled. Could you please inform the committee exactly when this borehole was drilled and commissioned, and which is which, the testing report or the audit findings to which you are responding? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, you can proceed with that question.
Thank you, Chair. I ask my procurement team to respond.
Head of procurement, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The borehole was drilled in August. The query which was there when the auditors went was that it was not yet working. So it was already drilled, but the pump had not yet been installed. So the dates for the borehole report are correct, Honorable Member. It's just that the pump had not yet been installed. So the pump was installed in December.
Honorable Daka.
Mr. Chairperson, I've got a borehole completion report in front of me, and down there, there are two dates. There's a head that the borehole was drilled in August. The first date is the date of arrival on site was 20th July 2024, and then the date of completion of works, Chair, is 24th July 2024. I would like the PS to elaborate more with regards to this information that is given on the report, when in fact from his submission they are indicating that the borehole was drilled in August. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed, or your officer can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask was the contract manager to proceed.
Thank you. Who's the contract manager? Head of procurement. Okay, you can proceed.
Chair, maybe I've mixed up the dates, but the truth of the matter was that before August, the borehole was already drilled. So it could have been in July or August, but by August, the borehole was already drilled.
Head of procurement, can you be precise? Because we have a report here and we are dealing with the dates. You can proceed.
Chair, this project was in Mansa. I was dealing with them on the phone. So I know that between July and August, the borehole was already drilled. I may not have the exact date. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Daka, what's the point of order? Head of procurement, you can switch off.
Chair, this is a committee of facts. We don't rely on speculation. Our assumption is that before the PS came with his team here, they sat down and prepared to appear before this honorable committee. From the submission, it's indicated that the borehole was drilled in August. Contrary to what is being provided on the reports themselves, the borehole completion report. So there's no way the PS can come here without having the exact month and date when these works were done. Because there's a start date when you arrive on site, and there's what the time the borehole has been drilled. All these things will actually be captured on the report. So there's no way the PS can come here and start giving information to the committee which cannot be substantiated, Chairperson. So let the PS be serious. Let him submit precisely when was the borehole drilled. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mkumbi.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the PS knows too well that in government we believe in commitment to paper. Things have to be documented. Because civil servants come and go. Today you can be in this ministry, the other day you are in another ministry. How do you do your handovers if you are managing a project on the phone? I believe for every activity that needs your attention, someone must do a report or a letter to say, we are at this stage. Now, if you are just getting instructions on the phone, maybe 2 weeks later you are transferred to another ministry. How do you hand over a project? The contract is taken over from you. I hope the PS understands my question.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I refer members to the same report. At the bottom there's date of July and date of completion of works, which is 20. You forgive me, Chair, I can't really see that the fonts are too small. 24th of July. It's there on the report.
24th of July when? 24?
2024.
That's when it was what?
Completed.
Completed?
Yes,
and
Chair.
when was it operational?
It was operational later. I want to suspect that it must be because the borehole was done, but what was remaining was to install the pump. If you remember, Chair, even in our earlier submission we had indicated that the first borehole was drilled, it was unsuccessful. In the second borehole, in the process of drilling it, the drill broke. And by the time they went to the copper to fix their drilling and come back, they found that the borehole had collapsed. And therefore the third drilling is when they managed and were successful. However, despite being successful in finding the water, the pump had not yet been installed because we were looking for a specific make and strong pump, which has since been put. And may I inform the committee chair that I personally went there 2 weeks ago to go and ensure that what is being said is on the ground. So I was in Mansa, I went to check on the pump, I went to check on the borehole, and it is working. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. We do appreciate PS your submission that you went to Mansa and you've checked. But as you might be aware, this is a committee of facts. We also believe in submitted evidence to back your submission. I think what we are failing to reconcile is that on the 19th of September 2024, Auditor General Mr. Brian McKenna, the principal auditor, went to inspect with water affairs. And they did, that's what I'm saying, evidence. I've got the evidence with me here. They are saying the bore was sunk and tested in September, but it was not operational. So from September, this is December. I don't know, PS, when you went there, but I'm told that this borehole now has been sunk and operational on the 12th of December 2024. That is after the first sitting the colleagues had, because I was not around with you. That is when now they've authenticated, because I had gone there. Yes, it was dug but not operational. So that's what we are trying, that's what we are saying it shouldn't take the office of the Auditor General to come and push. We've got the contract manager, we've got the processes done, and where Auditor General is in months and where offices is not far-fetched. So I think it's important that we shouldn't be reminded by Auditor General, but we should do works according to the stipulated contract and guidelines. Because people come here, PS, and make submissions, and tomorrow we see letters flying around and saying it's done now. That's not our role. And things should be done according to the contract. I think that's my submission to you and the team, that they do things according to the contract. So we do appreciate that you've gone there and you submitted that, you've seen that the ball is working, which was Auditor General submitted, but that is after this committee sat to interrogate on this aforesaid matter. Any last interventions on the board, then we make progress. The next, Honorable Lumayu, progress? Yes, proceed to the next question. I think the second item, the following item, honorable colleagues, is unaccounted for fuel. Who's proceeding? Honorable Lumai, then Honorable Wamima can proceed.
Mr. Chairman, regarding this unaccounted for fuel, allow me maybe to submit that maybe we get the report from the Office of the Auditor General, since we had tasked them to go and verify what did they find. Then we can pick it up from there.
Honorable Mfara, you want to go? First, let me ask the indulgence of Auditor General. Yes, you proceed.
Chairperson, the attachments speak for themselves. If you look at the attachments that were given, others have GRZ numbers, others don't have any number of the vehicle. I think before the auditors come through, can the Director of Finance explain why he has a summary report or reports that have no registration numbers for the vehicles that were drawing? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mima.
Chair, I'm extremely concerned on this fuel issue, and my concern is founded on the premise that the narration takes in this receipt, this from Puma and so forth, does not make any attempt to convince anyone in the world that the vehicles drawing fuel here are government vehicles. So, and Chair, what is even more concerning is that these statements, receipts were unavailable during audit. And now that they've been availed, they raise more questions than answers. So perhaps can the Director of Finance through the PS give guidance on this?
Thank you. PS, you can proceed. Through maybe your Director of Finance can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Director.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe let me start with the last question on how we've managed to obtain the fuel statements. Initially, we had a challenge in obtaining these statements because the filling station was unable to provide due to challenges on their part. But however, after that, we wrote to the filling station and made a follow-up. The statements have been availed, and these were able to reconcile the ledgers to the statements. That is on the first one. On the second one, where some GRZ numbers are not showing, yes, we acknowledge that weakness, internal control weakness is actually there. It's under the Zanis account. It's due to the TOM cards, which we are using, and we intend to implement a more effective internal control measures so that GRZ numbers, when the vehicle goes to draw using those home cards shown in the statements. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Wamnima.
Chair, it's not weak internal controls. It's just unacceptable. It's as simple as that. And at the point of refueling, why don't they collect receipts? They sign the receipt being given to the people who refuel, because if your internal control gives the leverage to believe that even private vehicles were drawing fuel here, you can't disprove that. If we tell you that private vehicles were drawing fuel here and government is paying for it.
Thank you. Before I answer that question, Auditor General, you can give us, there was a submission from the Honorable Member. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. As when we went on the ground, like the Director of Finance has stated, we found the few statements which were not there before. And these observations the members are making, for sure, they have been noted, but these are issues that I think may need some further follow-ups at some point or in the future, so that we can establish really that the fuels that were being used at the ministry were used for the vehicles which were authenticated vehicles by the ministry. Otherwise, in the absence of the registration numbers, it is very difficult, because we have some challenges in some other institutions sometimes where people could be cleverer than ourselves to build the systems, and we have some challenges where people will be using the same TOM cards to get even money in some cases. So these are serious lapse, like the Director of Finance has stated, which may need some follow-up at some point, a comprehensive follow-up. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Umai. Then there's Honorable Amima's question.
Controlling officer, arising from the submissions by the Auditor General and the observations by the committee, and which have been accepted by your director, that the system we are using currently, the issue of TOM cards, one can draw fuel, the number plate will not show. These are little issues which this committee, Public Accounts Committee, which is mandated by the whole Parliament to look at. Now the question I have for you, I hope tomorrow again, Mr. Chairman, will not be balloted on the media by press conferences. How do you feel that your ministry, you allocated money, people are drawing fuel and you don't know the number plates, and you are told it's the system? So as a controlling officer, because for us, we take it that this fuel was not being drawn by government vehicles. So what would be your position? Are you knowing this issue today, or you had also known it before? And if you had known it before, what have you done with it? I submit, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with the two questions.
Thank you, Chair. Just to state that, as was stated earlier by Director of Finance, we are relooking with our internal audit department together with the finance department. We are relooking into systems that will ensure that such occurrences are not tolerated going forward. Some of these things we are learning them now. As you know, we just recently took office, and we want to ensure that such do not happen under our charge. So we will make sure that controls are straightened. The committee will not be far-fetched if they raised an accusation that this fuel drawn has gone into private motor vehicles. We have no basis of refuting that. So what is important is to acknowledge that the system is weak, and therefore we will strengthen it, and that's exactly what we are doing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, PS. Honorable members have guided the issue of I've guided that there will be a ruling tomorrow. So I think let's focus on what we are deliberating on. Thank you. Honorable Mkumbi, you can proceed.
Chair, I know the font is quite small, but I'm a little bit confused. I'm looking at the statement here, or their statement, well signed or stamped by the Director of Finance. This statement is for the whole month of December 2023,
and fuel drawn from the 11th and all the way up to the 28th is there. Liters and all that. But the statement was received on the 10th of December 2023. So you first receive a statement, you stamp it, and then fuel is drawn. Maybe make me understand. Or someone just picked a stamp and started stamping each and every page. See, I can't understand. Or maybe I hope someone else has seen that. So what's the stamp, and how do you receive something before the drawdown? How possible is that?
Thank you. Thank you, Director of Finance. You proceed. Honorable members, that should be the last intervention, unless you have burning issues. Then proceed to the issue of the assets. Failure to maintain asset register. I'll allow one question there, because it's not very. Auditor General has whispered that this one is administrative, and then we'll now proceed to failure to provide information, and last will be failure to settle outstanding issues. Outstanding issues, Honorable Mfarari can handle that one, and others can chip in. Failure to provide information, Honorable Wamima and Honorable Daka, and Honorable Mukumbi. After that, you also look at Honorable Mila, failure to maintain asset register. So you can proceed and answer those two questions.
Sorry, Chair, may you just go through?
Honorable Mukumbi, can rephrase the question? I hope you've taken. Honorable Amima's question is still outstanding. Why can't they get the receipt after they have swiped? There should be a receipt which comes out from that thing. Then I'll get an actual receipt to say GRZ so. Then they bring them as your returns, because then you can carry that and bring to finance. Then you look at the number plate, you know you have the vehicle. I think these audits, we did some of those audits, and you find that private motor vehicles were drawing fuel indeed. And we had to go to RATSA, get the printout, who are the owners of these vehicles, let's have recoveries. So I think that is a fear of this committee. That's why we are laboring on that issue, Director of Finance. So you can proceed with Honorable Wamima's question. Honorable Mukumbi, just rephrase quickly. Thank you.
Chair, I'm questioning the credibility of these statements. I've gone through one statement here for December 2023. All the information is there on drawdowns of fuel. Now, this statement was received on the 10th of December. Stamped. Received. 2023 before the drawdowns. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Your stamp is 10th. Drawdown on the 10th, there was none. You receive a statement and stamp it, authenticate that we have received before the month ends. So maybe the PS can look at that. You have it.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed, or Director of Finance through the PS. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This page is actually showing is the fuel ledger. This is an internally generated document where we show the receipts and the disposals. And then when we receive the statement, we actually compare now. So this stamp is actually an authentication to show that this ledger we've prepared as the finance department. So through this reconciliation process, the fuel ledger balance is able to reconcile to the statement to show that we've done a comparative analysis and the two documents actually agree. This is an internally generated document which we're actually authenticating as a Chair. On the other question, Chair.
Chair is not answering.
Chair.
Honorable Mkumbi.
Chair, the question is very simple. On the 18th of December 2023, you drew 50 liters. It goes on 50 liters, 30 liters, all the way up to 29th of December. 29th of December,
you drew 20 liters. So how are you authenticating that 20 liters you drew on 29th of December? On the 10th of December? Or did someone just pick this stamp and started stamping on all the documents? And that's my question. It's not a ledger. This is drawdowns per day. So how did you authenticate what you got the 30th or 29th? The 10th. Before you even draw, you were already authenticated. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit behind chair on that one.
Maybe just clarify, Honorable Mukumbi. So 29 of December, which year? 2023. Okay. Then now the authentication, the stamp is what? 10 December 2023. Okay. That's when you stamp it. Yeah. Because the dates are not synchronizing. Honorable Farah, you can proceed.
Chair, I think what we need the director to tell us is how were you authenticating a document? I think it's straightforward for you, Director Finance. How do you stamp something that you have not drawn, or you have not? You are comparing it with what? Someone brings a statement that shows the dates that are still ahead. Then you authenticate and you put your stamp there, and you are saying it has been drawn. How does that happen?
Thank you, Director Finance. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. What I did mention is that the fuel ledger is an internally documented, internally generated document. So basically we are capturing the receipts, the payments that we make to the filling stations, and the drawings for the fuel. These are supporting documentation. It's actually a summary showing the coupon vouchers and the payments, the receipts that we actually receive. So we summarize, and now there might be a mismatch on the stamp, but it actually shows the summary of the receipts and the disposals for that particular month. And this balance is further verified when we get an actual statement from the filling station to complete the cycle.
Thank you, Honorable Mnyuma.
Director, what we are asking you, what we are looking at is not your ledgers, no. We are looking at your drawdowns at Puma with a Puma stamp or logo. That's what we are looking at, what was being drawn. And that can only come through when you have concluded that month. You know, that statement from Puma or from Puma only comes through when you have reached December 30th. That's when Puma can give you a statement to show that what was drawn on 29th of December 2023. How come on 29th December 2023 there is a statement that is coming from Puma that is showing you the drawdowns, and you as director, you are saying you verified and authenticated that document on 10th December 2023. How does that happen? That's the question we're asking you.
Thank you, Honorable Mnyuma.
Chair, I don't even know why the director is there. It's just what you are doing here does not make sense. In the sense that, can you today stamp an entry for 31st January 2025? And so here, it's either will tell us this stamp was wrong. You used the wrong stamp, because here I have 26, 29 stamping in the future. You are stamping in the future. So tell us how. Was this a wrong stamp? You assume an error. And secondly, Chair, he's talking about reconciliation. Reconciliation will work. You don't correct receipts. Where are receipts? Each vehicle reconciling against a statement from the filling station. Do you have those receipts? And if you have, can you show us a receipt, not a receipt computed, receipt one by one, which will reconcile with the statement from the filling station?
Thank you. Yes, you've got very few queries. Now I think the nature of answering is the one which is opening a lot of questioning. Honorable Vice Chair, they can ask a question.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Chair, the first time they came, I had an opportunity to chair the committee, and I have both the ledgers. So the first submission they did, there were no stamps, no one signed, it was just a plain ledger. So now I want to find out from the accounting point of view and financial management of this country, are we allowed to sign, to backdate the signature? Because the first submission, there was no signing, there was no signature. But the one they've submitted today, there are stamps and signatures backdated to last year, December. Is it allowed in this country? Yeah. Because I have the copy for the first submission. The submission.
Thank you. Accountant General want to say something.
The Chair is just to respond to what the Vice Chair was putting across, if it's allowed, and it is not. Thank you.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed with those 3 questions. I want to make progress, but I'm failing to make progress. You can proceed, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I think the stamp was actually an oversight. What we're looking for is the authentication of the ledgers in comparison to the reconciliation process in our comparative analysis with the statements. I submit, Chair.
Yes, so Honorable.
Director Finance, could you just clear the issues that are arising? I was not part of, I was virtual the time you were coming through. Did you do these stamps and authentications after you were told to go back or not? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. And Director Finance, we be very categorical, because I've got a letter here from Puma, which is saying private and confidential, written on the 9th of April 2024, which they were saying they are unable to give you statements because of the legal issues, whatever they are. Okay? So at that time, I don't know how the few statements, they were not there. So I don't know how you generated them from the system and have them stamped for 2023, because they were not there. So just let's speak what's there and we make progress. Yeah. Yes, Honorable.
So we also want to know why you would backdate the government stamp. You need to respond to that. This is criminal.
Thank you, Honorable Mukumbi. And I don't know if criminal is parliamentarian. I stand to be guided. It might not be. It's misappropriation. Yes, so Honorable Mukumbi can withdraw that statement. Thank you.
They are withdrawn?
Yes.
What happened?
Thank you. PS, through PS, the Director of Finance, you can proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. First of all, to answer the first one by the Honorable, where I did mention that you are drawing fewer, but you are not getting the receipts. Chair, on that one, I admit that is an area where we need to improve. What we are looking at was when we prepare our ledgers, normally when we go to draw the fuel, we don't get that receipts, but we're able to get the statement. So the statement will be able to summarize all the drawings on that particular month. And then when we reconcile with the ledger, we're able to be satisfied with that. But going forward, we also make sure that that statement is backed up by the actual receipt. On the issue of the authentication, yes, the Vice Chair did guide in the previous sitting that we needed to authenticate our ledgers, and these are internally generated documents. During the period under review, these were not actually authenticated, but later on we had to do the authentication because of what had actually transpired. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. And Director of Finance, do not do that. because now you're looking at issues of backdating and stamping things. Maybe stamp them the same day you're doing your authentication. If it's today, you stamp them today and say, now we've gone back and done authentication and backdate it. Because and people who've been in the civil service understand how these stamps work. It's not even you give you whatever the big stamping, they're just stamping. Son, I've stamped here. You see what I mean? Because you know what happens. It's not you, director of finance, who be stamping. You've got those your people, your helpers who run with files, go and stamp and do this. It's important that you give the actual date, you do your reconciliation, stamp them the actual date. Then you're able to explain to say, when you sent us back, we've gotten the internally generated ledgers and we've stamped them to authenticate them on the actual date. Because this now we are showing us that this were done, yeah, you see, this is not the correct. Yes, so you know the consequences of misleading the committee. So I want you to withdraw those statements, and you need to stamp them. Honorable colleagues, we don't have time for resubmission, so I'll just guide that the actual ledgers, you do them and stamp them the correct date when you did them, and submit it back to the clerks, so that they are as they are. I think, colleagues, we can make progress. We proceed. Honorable Mila, can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. On the issue of the asset register, Chair, I've seen the attempt to submit what seems to be an improvement in terms of the register from the one that we looked at the last time. But I've seen that also there are some columns that are in the format, but they are blank, and I've not seen the total at the end of this Word document to show how much the total assets in terms of value are, though in the response I've seen something like 2 million kwacha. But my question is, controlling officer, is this the format? I know there is a format that Accountant General's office have provided of what an asset register should be maintained. Is this format, does this comply with that format? And if it does, why are these other fields blank? Like the if this generated number is blank, plot number, if it's applicable, revaluations amount, fair value, disposal dates, the net book value, it's missing. So does this comply with the format, and why these columns are missing? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Director of Finance, through your PS, you can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The asset register, actually, we are that in government, the asset register is actually computerly generated. It's a preserve of ministry, but the computer generated asset register is not too detailed. It will not show these details of numbers, location, inscription. This is why we prepare using the Excel document, so that you can be able to capture these details of asset location, serial numbers, and the inscriptions. And then in terms of the missing information, there was an observation that this was not complete. It's an issue that we're actually currently working on. We're updating the asset register. We wrote to the Ministry of Transport, Office Equipment. They came to do the inscription, and those were captured, especially for the period under review. And this exercise actually continues to update even other periods which have still the missing details. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Auditor General, what is the comment?
Okay, like I stated earlier on, the Director of Finance, they have done some improvements like the Honorable stated, but well, there's still a lot of work to be done so that the correct position in the ministry can be achieved as to the assets that are there in the ministry for the past, the present, and even the ones that you are going to procure in the future. So you should continue working on the asset register so it can be bettered. Otherwise, we may have some challenges. So far, there is proper improvement. There is at least an attempt, like the Honorable said, there's some improvement. However, I have to state also here that this is the topical issue. We are trying to move to across the way of accounting now, where there's what do you call this? The IPSA 33 that is to come into effect on the management of assets, so that we can bring them on board to operationalize that mode in the IFMI system. I think Accountant General can shed more light on this one.
Okay, you can proceed, Accountant.
Thank you, Chair. Just to amplify the point that the Auditor General has submitted, yes, government is trying to go IPSAS accruals, and so far even the policy has been drafted, the draft policy, and we're hoping before the year end it will be approved. The rollout, the first preparation of the first statement will be in for the 2027 financial statements, which will be prepared in 2028. So it is important that the assets are known in the ministry and accounted for. Where there is no value for now, of course we are recording at one value, and we will be engaging the Department of Government Valuers and other stakeholders to help us with the valuation of assets. So it's important that the asset register is in place in readiness for government to move the financial statements from IPSAS cash to IPSAS accrual. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarah, failure to set outstanding bill can proceed.
Chair, before we go to failure to, again we see a stamp that has arisen or that has come on the asset register. Again, it's backdated. Why should the Director of Finance operate in such a dubious way of handling matters? Why not? Why don't you just become open? There's nothing to fear here. Why don't you just, you see, you're putting the whole controlling officer in some bad standing. Why should you stamp things that happened a long time? Why don't you just stamp to say, I validated now, I was able to go through it? Why should you do this? Direct. Why should you do this?
Sure. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I've guided the Director of Finance and I'm guiding him again that where we have these stamps and we are told to resubmit, please, let's go back and put the actual dates when you were making the resubmission. That is a guidance. Honorable Wamnyima.
Chair, I think one of the critical issues that is coming out with this is that you did not take this audit. This corrective action, you do with the auditors. You know, you have 3 months to interact with auditors. They write to you, there's a asset register, where are the serial numbers. You correct and you stamp them, but not to come and do this now. So, Chair, I think for me, the issue is also a matter of not taking audit serious, and it's very disappointing because this audit, you as Director of Finance through the PS and internal audit, you must interact with the auditors. Exhaustively. When you look at Chair, the submission of the PS, he's not supposed to appear here. He was not supposed to come here. He has come here because he did not take this audit serious. Even the bill is not complete, you accept, yes, this is what we've done. You conclude with auditors. But you want to come here to correct things, you should take this audit seriously going forward.
Thank you. Honorable Mfarah, you can proceed.
Chair, where is the internal auditor for the ministry? Because these things should not arise and when the internal auditor is sitting there. Why should we have a situation like this one where people are doing wrong things and the internal auditor is sitting there at the ministry? Where is he or she?
The internal auditor, she's right behind you. and she was part of this committee. She used to be part of this committee before she moved from finance.
Where is she?
So she's here. Madam Internal Auditor, take the front seat, and you're needed by Honorable Mparari at the committee. So you can proceed through the PS. You have actually a very well vested.
Chairperson, through the controlling officer, the PS here. Internal audit, why did you have to allow a situation where you want to bring your own organization or ministry in disrepute in this fashion? Why did you have to allow this? You are part of the audit, and even when these verifications were to be done, you should have guided. Why did you fail to guide? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Internal audit, you can proceed. It's not, the mic is not working. Maybe we can take this side. Internal audit, you can proceed. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair.
Proceed the last question through the PS. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Through the PS, it's not that internal audit allowed whatever happened, but going forward, I think we'll do better.
Chairperson, internal audit, take your job seriously. You are the one who was supposed actually to guide. We know the operations in these ministries. The one who comes on spot is the PSS. But here, when you are doing all this of you the technocrats are the ones who are supposed to guide here. And you are supposed to have guided the director of finance. So you don't stamp this way you are doing things. Stamp you are verifying now, and you are the one who is getting satisfied. Why did you fail to do that? You are the internal auditor. You are the one who is, every document should pass through you before it goes to the finance, to the people of finance. Why did you fail to provide your role as internal audit? That's the question we're asking you. You are sitting here, you know very well how we handle things here. Why did you fail to provide that?
Thank you, Honorable Mparari. And just for a further guidance, I think we all understand that when this document is generated, PS, the one for the fixed asset register, there's a portion for you to sign as PS, there's a portion for director finance, and there's a portion for internal audit. Why is it like that? Even when you are doing inputs, that's the way, that's the standard is done. So your officers will go ahead, director finance will prepare, sign and send it to audit. Audit will look at it and say, okay, it's fine. Then the PS now, or whatever sequence, I might not be very correct on the sequence, who signs last, I think it should be internal audit, to say now they've audited whatever finance has prepared. That is a standard, and that's a standard we want you to do. But this the way it is. It's just a document stamped by the director of finance stamp. Are you aware, PS, about this document? Did it come to your office? But you're the controlling officer. That's where I understand accountant general and controller is not the way that should be done. Yeah, that's the way it should be done. Because the three of you, she will check, he has prepared, and you are the final authority to say, now let it go out of the ministry. If it's going for inputs, that's how we were doing things. So I don't know what has changed. The way this document is, it's just stamped. It's like I was telling you, just give the office assistant a document, here is stamping echo. She takes stamp, not even understand, oh boss, here is a file I've stamped. It shouldn't work like that. I think that's why internal audit, the members are struggling. Internal audit. Don't sit there, advise. If a document is not done properly, tell them next time you're doing this. You do that on inputs, on payroll. When they're going, the HRI will prepare all that signed director, then final PS, then it goes out. So why should we have this documentation? So there's a question, maybe you have another answer. I just wanted to guide the standard the way it's supposed to be done. Honorable Wamnyima.
Chair, also just for guidance, when the chairperson says capital, it's not a song. It can be hooked, and the police pick you up. So you need to take this thing serious, because we can take it that you misled the committee. That is why we are strongly saying, at time of audit, these things, you should exhaust these things. When auditors raise queries, you have a serial number and answer, have this. Conclude it there and then to avoid.
Thank you, Honorable Mukumbi. Last intervention.
Chair, I've just gone through this asset register of ministry. One, it's for the entire Lusaka province, or just for Lusaka district? Because if you look at it, anyway, it's not even worth calling it a asset register. Ministry of Information, province Lusaka. There's a province called Lusaka, and there's a principal information officer in Lusaka, definitely. District, there could be district officers, I don't know. District officers, I don't know. Then you also have the department. All departments. So all departments under your ministry in Lusaka province, that is attached to. So sometimes we need to be very clear with what we are doing. Look at the stamp that people are querying here. This was not there. Now you go back and put a stamp, making us look like what we were querying was not reasonable at the time, Chair. That's the meaning of this stamp. To make the committee look like what we queried at first was not reasonable because the stamp was there. And you even backdate that. Chair, I think an apology will not be enough on such matters because we correct these things.
Thank you. Yes, you can proceed. I don't know who's taking up that question. And internally, did you've got a question? You can answer. You can proceed. Thank you.
Director.
Chair, we've taken note of your guidance in terms of the stamping. That anomaly arose due to maybe to misunderstanding on our part. I've taken the responsibility. I thought maybe because we're looking at the period of 2023, then we can put that, but with your guidance, for noted going forward, we'll do that. In terms of the
point of order, Chair.
Director of Finance, yes, Honorable.
Chair, if the Director of Finance wants us to close this, Director of Finance, be remorseful and apologize. You know very well how you are experienced. For you to rise to a level of a Director of Finance is not a joke. You must understand systems and you understand the law very well. The way he's talking, it's like it's a small matter, it's just an oversight. This is fraud. This is a serious matter. And when they are quoting Cap 12, it's not it's a small matter. If it's invoked right now, you go in. So the best for me that you should do is to apologize. Instead of trying to mislead the committee by going to stamp as if you were doing your work properly. You have not done your work properly. You should have done your work properly. From the initial time when the auditors moved into your ministry, you should have done this. As directors, you are senior people, you are not small people. So you can't come here and looking like the whole thing is a very small thing. It's not small. You better apologize over this and remorsefully so that you don't do this again.
Thank you. PS, you want to make a submission?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to state that on behalf of the ministry, I take full responsibility. The issue of stamping and backdating the stamp has been well established in this committee, and that it is actually a very serious offense. I want to state that as a ministry, we apologize for that oversight. I think Director did explain that because we were looking at this period, and therefore, in the infinity of their wisdom, they stamped going back to that period. But what this has also done is, as the honorable members have also observed is that it makes it now look like this honorable committee did not know what it was talking about, because if at the time information was not available, and then we come back and with stamps that show that information was available at the time the committee questioned it, then we're actually putting the questions of this committee into disrepute. Therefore, I want to unreservedly apologize to the committee on behalf of the ministry and assure the committee that going forward, no such thing will happen again. And that we have learned, Chair, that even when we are sent back to do something, if we are doing it on the first, and it is a matter that happened years ago, stamp the stamp of the first, is to say this is when we have corrected it. Chair, submit.
Thank you. That was my guidance. We proceed, make progress. Honorable Farari can proceed on failure to set our stand.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, through you to the controlling officer to Director Finance Fire and as that are befitting. What are you doing to ensure that you minimize the accumulation of arrears? Because you have so many arrears, and are you prioritizing your employees in order for them to be motivated, or the people that are in your ministry who are not having the opportunity to receive some of these monies? And further, why have you failed to request? Because I looked at your submission, there is no appendix or appendices that indicate to the fact that you talk to the Treasury and you are asking them to come through, to come and help in clearing these areas. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. PS, you can proceed.
Chair, thank you. As a ministry, Chair, we are trying to make sure that these areas actually resolved. During the budget hearing, we did actually request for additional resources. We engaged the Ministry of Finance that can provide the additional resources for us to clear the areas. In addition to that, Chair, we noticed that during the period from 2017 to somewhere like 2022, Treasury was only funding under Head 21, under the Legacy Arrears Program, only for goods and services. So there was no funding that was coming through the dismantling of the personal emoluments. I remember the Treasury was trying to help centrally to dismantle arrears for all the ministries up to the 31st December. But as regards the Ministry of Information and Media, the funding and services. So we did write to the Secretary to the Treasury so that we can do a variation to that effect of to the amount of about 1 million, so that we can be able to reduce our debt obligation, but we didn't get a response from the Treasury. And to that effect, as a ministry going forward, what we decided was to make a provision for the dismantling of arrears starting for the period of 2024, where we made an allocation of about 400,000, and for next year's budget we've allocated about 500,000, and for this year we've actually even received about 269,000 to start reducing the debt. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Any further question? Thank you. PS, thank you so much for coming before this honorable committee to come and answer the queries which were cited in the Auditor General's report for the 31st of December 2023 report, and we do thank you most sincerely. You've got these issues, I think, which you've also acknowledged, and we hope and we implore you, together with your team, that you work on the aforesaid issues. I think these issues, they look small, but they border on very, very high issues of, I don't even know how to say it, but you cannot stamp a document which was done today for last year. I think that's not acceptable before this honorable committee. And like my honorable colleagues have said, I think issues of Cap 12 of laws of Zambia, they can be invoked. But however, we do ourselves to invoke those clauses. We are here not to demean anybody, but to foster accountability and good governance. We are here on behalf of the Zambian people to ensure that you, colleagues, you've been conferred with immunity, with duties to appropriate funds on behalf of the Zambian people, adhere to the guidelines, that is the Public Financial Management number 1 of 2018, and other auxiliary regulations to ensure that there is accountability. So we urge you to put your house in order and clean up all these little issues and other administrative issues to ensure that your books are in order. So we thank you, PS. I've given guidance earlier that we'll meet you tomorrow with the rest of the 3 controlling officers in the morning at 9:30 as we proceed to wind up with the Minister of Health. Then I can render my ruling on the point of order which was raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mufrida Central. So PS, we thank you most sincerely, and immunity is lifted and you are free to go. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
Her Honor, the Vice President's question time.
Questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 76.
For a matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament closer to you.
Them is just for conveyancing. It's just them to conveyance to write a letter.